So, do you want to tell everybody before they ask me, what are you calling him brown sugar?
I will gladly tell the story.
All right.
So,
Yo, welcome to the spot where the mics are hot. Every word we drop got flow like a shot. Got stories to tell and jokes that hit hard. Come join the fun, it's a brand new yard. We bring the vibes, the beats won't stop. Tune in now, we rise to the top. Laugh, cry, shout, feel every drop. This podcast here is cream of the crop.
All right. What's up, guys? Welcome to another R to the J podcast. And if you like what we're doing over here, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. It sure helps the channel grow. With that being said, today's special guest is none other than Eric, aka Brown Sugar. What's up, Eric?
we're really doing this.
Yes, we really do this, Eric.
We're going to do this.
Yeah. So, do you want to tell everybody before they ask me, what are you calling him brown sugar?
I will gladly tell the story.
All right.
So, one day we were at your aunt and uncle's house,
Mhm.
and when they were living on 13th Street.
Yes.
And I don't know, we'd come in from somewhere, maybe in the mall. I have no clue where the hell we came from. And all of a sudden it started raining. And I was like, I ran into the house. And everyone was like, why'd you run into the house so fast? I said, because I'm sugar. I just might melt. And that's how the name came about.
And you took it what? Brown sugar, you know what I mean? And it stuck. And that's been like, man,
That was over 20 years ago.
20 years ago. I've been knowing Eric for like what?
30
30 years at least
Yeah.
now? Shit. We should have a little celebration right there.
I mean,
Let's take a shot afterwards.
I've seen a lot of parts of your life. You've seen a lot of parts of mine.
Yeah.
I was there when Alex was born. I tell him that all the time. I said, the day you were born, I was at the hospital with your parents.
Yeah. He said, really? I don't remember.
Nah, he wouldn't.
Yeah. But I want to bring you in because, again, we did our first episode and that was really short, like 10 minutes, really, you know, and we were getting, just going off in the first episode. But I figured we'd do another one, go more in depth, I want to say, and catch up on what you're doing.
Well, let me say this before we start even this episode. I've watched you come a long way throughout since the time that I first came in here.
Yeah.
And the guests you've had over the time, how you've had Justin come in, like what Justin is doing, love what Justin is talking about, how you've had other business owners come in, the guy who owns Benny's Pizza.
Oh, yeah.
where
Brandon.
I've actually eaten at Benny's Pizza. Great food. Shout out to Benny's Pizza. Even the last guest you came in who talked about the donut shop, I believe it was, or the cookie.
The cookie shop. Oh, well, it's Wash D. His sister was the one who bakes in it and making it
Right.
or whatever. But I think they brought the company together, I think, and they're kind of working with each other.
Right. But like I said, I've seen the evolution of the podcast.
And probably me being a better host too, hopefully, guys.
You've definitely gotten a better. You've definitely become a better host. The intro has changed since you first started. So, like I said, I've had the privilege of watching, the podcast grow, and I hope it continues to grow. I know when there was a time in which you were very frustrated with some things going on with the podcast, but I'm glad you stuck with it.
Yeah.
Because
I think one had to be with the AC because it had the window unit, so I had to turn it off when I was recording, and it will get hot sometimes here.
Mhm.
So now I got a mini split here, so you shouldn't be able to hear. I don't hear it, so it should be all good. So don't worry, people. We got AC in the room now.
Yeah.
Mini split.
Yeah, but like I said, I know that you at a time there was some frustrations with the podcast, with guests not giving you a commitment one moment and then backing out when it was actually time for them to come on.
Oh yeah,
And
but
so I'm happy you stuck with it. I'm happy to see that you found another way of finding guests through. I know you do it a lot through Facebook. So I'm happy that other guests have come on, and a lot of people who are business owners come on, and I love hearing their story because I think all business owners go through in many ways the same development. At first you really have to decide what you want to do. If you're going to own a business, there's a commitment to that business. And what you have to commit to is the process. And the process that you're committing to is your own growth.
yeah,
So you have to commit to that process. And then after you commit to the process, now you have to begin actually learning and studying what you need to do. As an investor, I didn't know, I knew what I wanted to do, but how to get from point A to point B was not something I exactly knew.
yeah. So for the audience, they don't know your background, so you can let them know where you came from, so that way they can know where you come from and where you at right now.
Okay. Well, I grew up in PA. I am definitely a Port Arthur boy.
West side, right?
West side of Port Arthur.
It's not like the best spot.
No, I grew up in a very potentially rough neighborhood. I mean, did I see some things when I was younger that maybe I shouldn't have saw in my neighborhood? Yeah.
It's like stuff in the Boys in the Hood movie, like that.
Well, I wouldn't go. It wasn't that bad, but I
Wasn't
mean,
that bad?
did I see people out there selling drugs? Yes, I seen people selling drugs. The lady who lived 2 doors down from us was a crack hoe.
Oh,
I mean, you see things, but the situation, was our house bad? No, I mean, I grew up in a very wonderful house. My mom was a great mother. I have a wonderful family, wonderful brothers and sisters. So I don't really have a whole lot to complain about in my life. I mean, I think we're all going to go through some rough times at some point in our lives, but it's just life and you got to learn how to deal with it. So
yeah, just because you come with from a rough neighborhood doesn't mean your family, your housing
right.
wasn't bad.
Right. I think the majority of the guests that you've had on this podcast, matter of fact, I'm not going to say I think. I know all the majority of the guests you've had on this podcast have overcome something in their life. And you decide ultimately what you're going to make of your life, and you decide the direction your life is going to go. I mean, the lady, Mary's Bakery, who I think it was.
Oh no, Anna's Bakery.
Sorry,
Yeah.
totally sorry. Messed up your name. Don't kill me. Anna's Bakery talked about coming in from Mexico, I think it was.
Yeah.
So I mean, she
Not knowing English and
right, not knowing anything, not knowing English. So I mean, like she had to overcome a lot, but she still was able to build a successful bakery.
Yeah, she had a vision and she had the courage, as one said, to do it as well.
Right. So you have to have some vision, some direction, some knowledge of where you want your life to go. I think most people, like you have to have that, but you also have to be willing to put in the work. She was willing to put in the work. Every person you've had sitting in this chair have all talked about their journey and how they had to put in the work. Justin in his last podcast, when Justin was here, he talked about the movies he's doing.
Yeah.
He's talking about him putting in the work. The gentleman, I think he said his name was Brandon, who owned the cookie shop, talked about his process.
No, that was YZ.
Sorry, YZ.
Yeah.
Totally. Like I said, I'm sorry for messing people up name. I'm totally sorry.
It's my job to remember.
Yes, it is your job to remember because of your podcast.
Yeah.
But he talked about his journey and the things he had to overcome.
Yeah.
Even the gentleman who sat in here who was the event planner. Can't think of his name either.
Last name Cruz, I remember that.
Right. But he talked about how in his podcast, how, the things he overcame, wanting to get started, wanting to go full time. And then in the beginning that didn't go well and, taking a second stab at it. And, eventually he made it.
Yeah.
So everybody's going to go through tough times or something rough, and you just have to learn how to deal with it. A setback does not mean that you failed. It simply means that you have to learn something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but what are you doing now so far? I know last time you were here, you talked about your real estate, and actually you're a chemist as well too. So
right. So I am a real estate investor. I own several properties.
You said a big announcement, right? You told me behind the scenes.
Yeah, we can keep that behind the scenes.
Okay. It was a big announcement. I'll give you just for that. It was big.
I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
But now, looks like you've known me for 30 years.
Yeah.
So I've always talked about wanting to just really take a break and, relax for a little while. And that's really what my plans are. To just take a break and relax for a little while. Is there another business I plan to start? Yes, I do plan to start another business. I've actually put a lot of things in place for it already. So the next company I'm going to start is another real estate company, but this is not me buying the house company. This is me loaning the money to people who want to buy property.
Yeah. Now everybody's asking probably, okay, how is he doing all this? Juggling a full-time job and doing real estate investment. How difficult was that?
You have to be willing to do the work. Anything you do is going to require you to be put in the time. Like once again, everyone who sat in this chair has put in the time to get to where they wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm no different. You have to be willing to make certain sacrifices. When I was in the beginning, when I was learning, I was driving every Saturday from here to Houston. And that's how I started. And I was involved in a real estate investment club in Houston. And I learned and I gained a lot of knowledge from that.
Yeah. I remember. I think you told me a long time ago if I want to do that, but at the time that's when my son was born, so it's kind of like a little harder.
Well, the good news is Alex is starting to follow that path. I mean, I know he's talked about going to college now, but
Mostly civil engineer.
yeah. But Alex is, coming with me to a real estate and investment clubs meeting. Matter of fact, when Alex came to me and he asked me to, teach him a little bit about real estate, the first thing I did was I said, okay, well, the first thing I've got to do is get you educated. I was never willing to send him out to go and invest money in a property without a proper education.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably thought it was all easy. Oh, I could do this. I know everything. As kids, as young man, you think you know everything, but as you get older, then you realize, oh, I didn't know nothing back then. Even now to this day, we're in our 40s, and we're still like, oh, I don't know everything.
Well, I knew from the very beginning that I had to protect Alex from Alex. Being a young man, you have a certain mentality that you can go out and conquer the world. And like you said, sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So before I allow him to go out and purchase a property, you got to get educated. You got to understand if you want to own a rental property, okay, you got to understand landlord-tenant law. You got to understand, how to find the right property and how to buy it right. In real estate, you make your money when you buy, but you get paid when you sell.
Yeah.
Or you get paid when your tenant starts paying the rent.
Yeah.
But you've got to do that process right.
Yeah. And that's one thing when he came up to me, I think he was talking about real estate and all that thing. And I told him, well, you can get a house, but then you have to think of all the issues. Is the foundation good? Is the roof, how much is everything going to cost?
Right.
I mean, you're not that experienced with that. I think I told him too, hey, you might want to go talk to Eric just in case,
Well, I'm glad you told him that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, but how's the work going as well?
I enjoy my job. I enjoy the people I work around. They're everybody there is here to give a helping hand whenever you need it. They pay me well, so I'm not going to complain. But I've never wanted to be in a position to where I'm completely dependent upon anybody. So that's really what was one of the driving reasons for me starting doing what I was doing. I never wanted to be in a position to where I'm completely dependent upon anybody. I mean, in the world we live in today, things happen and they happen fast. Just the other day, the president laid off 1,300 people from the State Department. Now they're cutting jobs from the Department of Education.
Oh yeah.
And now they're getting ready to cut jobs from the Department of Human Health and Human Services.
Yeah. Which, I mean, at the end, you got to think about it. If they have a lot of fat in the government, it needs to be trimmed down,
But he's running the government now like a business. Businesses look at where can they trim the fat.
Yeah.
I mean, people have been laid off before.
I got laid off twice, so like, okay.
Right. But it's a lesson you learn that you learn that you have to be able to depend upon you. You can't depend upon other people.
Yeah, you gotta have develop your skills as well too.
Mm-hmm. In the end, ain't nobody gonna look out for you quite like you.
Mm-hmm. Especially now, you're gonna have to with AI coming out to it. It's gonna just mess up a lot of industries right there, where a lot of people are gonna get laid off.
But that's just the way technology has always evolved.
Yeah, even from back then, from like how the cars were built,
Right.
The industrial
Revolution.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's like I said, that's just how technology's always been. Disruptive technology comes along all the time. It just depends upon, is it going to disrupt the industry you're in?
Mm-hmm.
But disruptive technology is a constant.
Yeah.
In the world we live in now, changes fast, but not only does it change fast, the pace of change has increased. So you have to be dependent upon you. And like I said, that's one of the reasons why I started doing what I was doing.
Yeah. I don't know if you knew that pretty much all these trades trade schools, they're filling up quick now.
Mm-hmm.
Welders, AC techs, so whatever, plumbers of they're filling up quick.
Because people are starting to realize that those professions have value. Just because you don't have a college degree doesn't mean you cannot be successful in life.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and some college degrees aren't even worth the paper they're printed on. I mean, what the hell are you gonna do with a damn degree in gender studies? It's like
That and what literature arts is like. Come on, guys.
like
That's one thing I told Alex. If you're gonna go to school, college, or whatever, it's gonna be engineer, doctor, lawyer, accountant, maybe something else. But other than that, no.
what you told him was get a real fucking degree. That's what you told him.
Well, yeah, that's what I told him. Those are no real own degrees because
Right.
where you can go for school for English, so let's say literature arts, so gender
Right.
studies. It's
Get
like
a real degree.
yeah, psychology, maybe. I know a couple people with psychology, but
So do I.
yeah. So I was like, I guess some places might need a bachelor degree in that field, which I can't understand. But yeah, but make sure you guys go to college for the right degree.
Well, but not only that, look at how many people go to college. You come out with a nothing degree, and then after you come out with a nothing degree, while in the process of getting your nothing degree, you amass tremendous student loans.
Oh yeah, especially when you go off to a different state and you have to pay out of state tax or tuition or whatever, or if you want to go to these Ivy League school, if you got nobody paying, you paying for yourself, it's like that's a little too much, man.
Right, and not and a student loan sets you back tremendously. I had somebody contact me a couple years ago. She wanted to buy a house, and she called me to ask me about what does she need to do to buy a house. And I was like, well, she asked, what do they look at? When you're looking at purchasing a house. I said, well, the first thing to look at is they look at your credit score. I said, and after they look at the credit score, they look at how long you've been employed. And after you look at how long you've been employed, they look at your debt to income ratio. And she goes, well, what is the debt to income ratio? I said, the debt to income ratio is how much income you make versus how much goes out in debt, how much, debt you have. And she looked at me, she goes, does student loan counts as debt? I said, yes, it does.
It's a worse step because you can't put yourself in bankruptcy.
No,
It'll stay with you.
Right. And
Even when you die, people they'll take that money somehow.
And she said, well, I have $130,000 in student loan. I was like, that's your house note.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's one thing that I talked to my nephew recently. He told me, "Hey, I think Alex got we got classes together." I said, "Okay, cool," because I know he told me that he was going for engineer, and so they're gonna have some classes. So it's gonna help out when you have a cousin going to school for the same subject.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
Yeah. So you said you already have things lined up for your next venture, right?
Yes.
How long you think it's gonna? That's already you already started, right?
I've already gotten things started. Everything is put in place. The company has been formed. All the legal documents it has been filed. It actually exists. I just have to get off my behind and actually do something with it.
What did you end up naming the company?
I ended up naming the company my mother's initials because she passed away, several years, many years ago. So the company I gave the company her initials.
Oh, okay.
So, but I'm just in a place right now where I want to do it. I just can't force myself to do it.
Yeah, because we talked about in the background. Like, okay, we know that you worked hard. Pretty much ever since you got out of high school. Probably even in high school, you probably worked your butt off. But now it's like, okay, you need to actually kind of enjoy yourself.
Right. I get to take. This is a time in my life where I want to take some time and just enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Yeah, I told you. I mean, it's like, yeah, you could have all of this, all of that, but guess what? At the end, it's all about experience.
Right.
A lot of things. Yes, it's nice to have everything or a lot of things you could do with, but if you're, by yourself as well too, it's a little lonelier, I'm gonna say.
Well, that's something else.
Yeah, that's another story.
Well, look, I'll put it out there and be public about it. That's something else that has to get done. Get back into dating. Start seeing what's out there. I guess it's time maybe to.
And everybody knows that right now in the U.S. it's rough. All right, guys.
Look,
and girls.
Men face different challenges than women
Yes.
when dating.
Yes.
And that's just, the reality of it. Uh, and I guess ultimately depends upon what you're really looking for. Uh, if you are looking for a wife, there are some things that you're going to be okay. There are some things you're just not going to want to deal with. Like, I hate to say this, ladies, and y'all gonna want to murder me after this. God, I'm gonna get murdered. Uh, but men who have taken the time to build themselves don't want to deal with your baby daddy.
Yeah.
That's like I said, I'm gonna get killed.
Yeah. Well, not just that. Like I tell them, one of the guests I had, Kayla, my Kayla, I told her it's not just that they don't want to deal with the baby daddy, but then also you as a man, you might get attached to the kid too, and then if the relationship don't work, then you lose that almost like a child almost to you. You know what I mean? Especially if you guys spend a lot of time, and so you're losing almost a part of yourself a little bit, not that much, but you can't do nothing with the kid because at the end it's not your kid.
Right. And like I said, this is somebody your child's father is always gonna have access to you because y'all share a child together.
Mm-hmm.
And for men who have, like I said, you've worked your life, you've tried to do everything right and build yourself into something, that's an issue.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay. Yeah. You're talking about like, we're talking about like smaller kids, maybe up to like 12, 13, 14 years old. But I think once they're like hit, 16, 17, 18.
Yeah, at that point, you really don't care. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. At that point, you're
At
like,
that
okay.
point, I mean,
Especially if they're 18 and they're doing their own thing. So,
yeah, but at that point, you're not really dealing with a child anymore. You're dealing with a grown adult.
yeah.
So that's what that's about.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, dating in the US, the Western countries, pretty much is always kind of hard.
Well,
But yeah, so what you got planned to do in the week? You said you got.
I want, like I said, one of my things is I definitely want to start doing some traveling. Just find me like a little weekend getaway spot.
Well, let me know. I could shoot you some spots.
Well, right now I'm looking at, a couple of little places, just to go consistently on the weekend, relax.
In Texas or Louisiana or a weekend, like I don't know how far you want to travel.
Well, there's a difference between us taking a weekend getaway versus going on vacation.
Yeah.
So this is just like a little weekend getaway someplace,
Yeah.
Once a month I go and just relax.
You had the schedule where you have every other Friday off, so you got 3 days.
Which is one of the reasons why I love my job.
Yeah.
Working a 980, having every other Friday off, I absolutely enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Having that 3-day weekend feels really, really good.
Yeah. I've been having that 3-day weekend for like over 2 years now. I mean, since I work 4 10s, every weekend. I mean, every weekend is a 3-day weekend for me.
I don't think I could work 4 10s. I mean, I probably could, but I really don't think I would.
That's a little rough at first,
Right?
And then you get used to it.
Well, I think it's like anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was kind of tired about it. Travel, and at least around the United States,
Well, no, you've had the privilege of doing a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
In the beginning when you were starting your career, that was the time you spent in Alabama. Where else did you spend some time at?
Well, that job, it was sending me all over the country,
Right.
pretty much for a whole year. So I've seen a lot, parts of the country. I went to Seattle, Pennsylvania, around that area, Virginia, North and South Carolina, Georgia,
Right.
Florida. It's all over the place. But the other job I had got after that, I was working at Little Rock for like 3 months, then Chicago for 3 months.
remember
and
that.
Then Los Angeles for 3 months as well too. Great time.
Yeah. Like I said, it's something you've had the privilege to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I said, I just want to take some time to really relax. Find what I'm looking for. Start the second company. Looking forward to starting a second company. I've actually had some people call me about wanting to borrow money, and as an investor, I say no a lot.
Well, you have to, you know what I mean?
Well, my problem is when people come to borrow money and you don't even know what you're doing. I had a lady call me, actually fairly recently. She wanted to borrow $110,000. Okay, I can make the loan. But she wanted the money for a property in California. I'm not making that loan. I don't know shit about California. Why am I making that loan?
Yeah. So you're gonna be strictly just for Texas?
My goal is to be in Texas.
Okay.
I really don't want to be more than an hour away from my house. I'm a sort of a control freak.
It sounds like it.
Look,
Watch out, lady. He
look,
admitted it right here.
not gonna lie.
But if it's not your house, let's say if the house is, like, say, they want to borrow money for a house in Austin.
I'd be open to it.
Mhm.
But because I know Austin a little bit better.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I like to keep my eyes on my money. I mean, money is very easy to lose. And that's what I think a lot of people think as an investor, you're just making money all the time.
So is
No.
that you want to go back and look over the property and make sure it's a good location and it is gonna be feasible to
Right.
make money?
Right. Absolutely. I mean, I like to put my own eyes on a property because when you start loaning money to people, you have to protect your money.
Yeah.
Not only do I have to protect my money, I also have to protect my capital investors' money. If I'm borrowing some money from somebody to loan to someone else, that person expects me to protect their money.
Yeah. Isn't that called like almost an angel investor? Is it called that? Or is it called something else? I'm not sure.
I call it being a broker. So there are two parts to what my next venture is. I have my own money to loan out. That I can definitely do. But the second part of that is being able to raise capital. As an investor, you're always looking for more money. Money is always the limiting factor. The amount of deals you can do is always limited by the amount of money you have. And if you want to do more deals, you have to be able to raise more capital.
Yeah.
People will trust you if you develop the reputation that you don't lose their money and you're making good decisions. If you are not making good decisions, you are going to lose someone's money. And if you lose someone's money, your reputation is shot. And the moment your reputation is shot, game over. So I protect my capital investors' money. And by making sure I protect my capital investors' money, I'm protecting my reputation. And when you have a solid reputation, certain things become much easier. It's easy for when you have a good reputation for somebody to come to you and say, hey, you know what? I got $100,000 in the bank. What can you do with it? Versus me having to go out and beg somebody to borrow the money.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, making sure that my reputation is protected, making sure that I'm making good decisions, making sure that I'm making making sure the property is good, making sure that my capital investors protected. It's just good business practice.
Yeah. Man, even if you're like a regular person, if you have 100,000, that's, you're doing good. You save money, and you probably need to educate yourself to invest that money, because at the end you're losing all that money on interest. I mean, the inflation.
Right.
It's just sitting in the bank.
Money isn't just money, though. If you think about the money that you make, how do you make it? You get up every day, you go to work, you put in time for that.
Yeah, you're limited on that.
Money is just not money. Money is your time. Money is you going to work, dealing with a boss you may not like to deal with, dealing with things at work or people at work you may not want to be around. You do all those things. So I'm not going to lose somebody's money because I know what it means to them.
Yeah. So I'm guessing everybody might be thinking about this. So you have a full-time job and you have one business, real estate, and you got a few properties. And now you're starting a second business. So once that second business starts and goes off and you're doing pretty well on that, when are you going to leave your job? Or are you ever going to leave your job?
I don't know. I've really thought about that question a lot. I do know that health insurance for a single person is very expensive.
You know what? That's a good excuse to have a job then, to help you out in that area.
I've looked into it. I think health insurance for a single person was like $1,800 a month. I was like, wow.
$1,800.
Yes, if you want to get good quality.
Wow.
Look, if you want to get good quality health insurance, you're gonna pay for it.
I guess the company gets discounts, some type of discount when they give it out to their employees.
They get it in a group rate. I mean,
Yeah.
if you think about, a company that has 100 employees, not some employees are not going to use the services as much as others. So therefore, there's an offset there and there's a discount. But when you're a single person all by yourself, Nobody knows. And so you end up paying a very high premium for that. And that's just something I don't want to do.
That is nuts. 18 a month. Not
Yes.
not yearly, a month.
A month. Yes, sir.
Nah,
Nah,
is that because of Obamacare or what, man?
I don't know.
Nah.
I have no clue why that
But that's
is.
one thing is I don't believe the when government when they try to put their hands on in something, they're the most inefficient organization. I think the private sector could do a way better job.
Private sector is always going to do a better job because the private sector, government doesn't have to be profit driven.
Yeah, exactly.
Because government raises money through taxation. As a private investor, you're not raising money through taxation. You have to actually make a profit.
Yeah.
And while I understand that things are very controversial as far as when it comes to healthcare, because you talk about people with pre-existing conditions and all this other stuff, and I'm not saying there shouldn't be some form of a program for that as far as the government goes, but yeah, the companies are driven to make profit, and with any company, the profits are the lifeblood of the business.
Yeah. And the government just okay, just throw some more money at it.
Right.
Let's see. We'll see if it works. Oh, I guess not.
Well-
But anytime they go, let's say they help out something or even go at war or something like war on drugs, war on homelessness, it always fails.
But government can also do something that I can do. They can print money.
Yeah. Well, the Fed's good, not the government, but that's what
Same thing.
what a lot of people think that the Federal Reserve is actually part of the government, but it's a different entity, right?
Right.
They-
It's
they-
a different entity.
yeah. And they're not really federal and they're not really a bank.
Right. But the Federal Reserve can print money.
Yeah.
You can't print money.
Yeah.
You have
Well, you could print money, but you go to jail.
right. Well, they call it counterfeiting.
Yeah, yeah.
You just like me and like everybody else, we have to live within our budget. You cannot just spend money into infinity and think that things are going to work out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. There's a lot of topics we went over. Any more topics you think we need to touch on?
I don't know. I'm here as long as you want me.
Oh, okay. Well, I know you got time is short. My time is short too, as well too. I'm just getting back in the groove of things too. I've been on vacation, so it's been like a month, which I needed. Sometimes this is kind of hectic. Sometimes when I have back to back guests or whatever.
Well, we all need to take a moment to just relax, decompose here, or not decompose. Sorry, compose ourselves, relax. Clear your mind, do things like that.
Yeah.
So,
Like I said, I put in the mini split right there. It took me like about a week and a half. I thought I had messed it up, and I thought I messed something big time. So, but I got to figure it out. Got it. Feels a whole lot better here than I was on vacation. Good times.
like you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah.
That's what it matters.
So, you have any last words for the viewers?
I guess if I had any last words for any of the viewers, I would say, if there's something you want to do, go out and try. Don't go out and try. Go for it. We all have goals in our lives. We all have things we want to accomplish. You'll never get it done, and you'll never know what you're capable of unless you're willing to take the first steps. Don't think that you're going to see success in the beginning, because the journey, it is just that. It is literally a journey. In the beginning, you're learning, but as you learn, the other steps begin to appear. And that's one of the things I'm hoping that Alex gets, that right now, this is just step one. As he goes along his journey, the other steps will begin to appear what he needs to do. And if he's willing to, and if he, like anybody else, if you have the will to do it, and you're willing to stick with it and endure some failure, then you'll be successful in life.
Yeah. And it's okay to fail. You know what I mean? If you haven't failed, that means you haven't really tried on something. You know what I mean?
But you shouldn't look at failure as failure.
Well, yeah, like I said, if you fail, take it as a lesson.
Right. And that's exactly what you should look at it as. This is a lesson. What did I do wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And I can say there were many nights I was like, oh my God, this is not working. And I'd have to sit there and go, okay, what are you doing wrong?
Yeah.
And then you course correct and you look at, okay, this is not working.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, it's a journey.
Yeah. Even at work, you know what I mean? You might have done something when you first started there, and then once you get like 2 years experience, you're like, man, why did I do that?
Mhm.
But again, once you get that experience and maybe you did some trial and errors, then you figure it out.
Yep, exactly. So, one thing I will say to all the viewers, I hope that y'all really do like, subscribe, and comment on the video.
Sure helps out, guys.
It does help the channel grow. And one thing I want to do is I want to continue, to see you be successful. I want to continue to see other guests come in. I hope the podcast continues to grow. Like I said, love the way it's going.
Yeah.
Love the fact that you've had several different people on here. Love the fact that you interviewed Thurman Barty, the mayor of Port Arthur, and even the lady who
Charlotte Moses. She
Right.
won. She is. So I actually need to reach out to her again, but not right now, but later on, maybe for next year. Because we talked in next, I'll probably do a podcast with her at the mayor's office, like I did with Barty as well too.
Right.
So it'll be fun,
Well, I remember when you first came and talked to me about the idea and about what the podcast was going to be about, and I thought it was a great idea then. I think it's a great idea now, and I really, like I said, love the fact that it has come where it's came where it's I love the way how far it's come along.
Yeah, I actually get stopped every once in a while. Not that much, not all the time, right, guys? But people notice me. Hey, don't you have a podcast? Oh, yes, I do. Like, comment, subscribe. That's all I tell them.
Well, hopefully, some of them are grinders and they want to come on a podcast.
Yeah, who knows? You know what I mean? But I know a lot of people that say that this is the first time to do the podcast, and I say, hey, that's okay. You know what I mean? Just take it as an experience, just in case if you go on another podcast, you say, okay, I've done this before. I'm used to it now, so take it as the experience.
Well, when
my guests,
Right. I said, like, when you first came to me and you talked about it and you called it a podcast. This is not a podcast, although people think it's a podcast. It's not really a podcast. What this is a place for a business owner, mayoral candidate, whoever, to come and tell their story.
Yeah, but then it's a podcast format. This is a format.
I call it free advertising.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. Like Eric said, if you like what we're doing over here, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. It sure helps us this channel grow. All right. Peace out.
Breaking news or cool interviews, we keep it real, no scripted cues. From wild debates to heartfelt tales, strap in tight, this train never derails. We bring the vibe.